Hi everyone. So it is time for yet another Five Live, and today I'm going to redo a training that I haven't done for a long time, and it's a training on communication, effective communication to get your needs met. And when it's many months ago that I did this training, but it got a really good response. Mostly because I think it's because so many people that I deal with, when we're dealing with people with abuse and trauma in their background, that kind of sets up a precedent for people. And what it means is that if you're in that situation, you're probably not standing in your own worth and value, and you're not used to being number one. So you're not used to putting yourself first and asking for what you need. You're probably much more likely to be someone who is a carer or a people pleaser, or someone who's trying not to rock the boat. So you don't put your own needs first. And you already have a large part of your life, if you're in this situation, where your needs have not been met. So it's time for you to start getting your needs met. And it's very important when we're talking to our partners, or to anyone actually. This can be applied to work, it can be applied to friends, to any situation. Sometimes if you just come out with what you want or need, it sounds just that. It sounds very needy. People don't understand what you're asking for, why you're asking for it. They can say that it's over the top. All sorts of things. But there is a structure that you can use that means that when you are asking for something, it means that you give detail that people understand. It means you've got their attention, and it's a really good way of ensuring that you get your needs met. Now, it's a 10-part structure. But when I say that, you don't have to use all the parts. This is just to give you ideas about how you might structure this, how it might serve you. And also, although I talk about it in points, when you have the conversation, it just flows as a conversation. But I'll just tell you what all the components of it are, and you can see how you think that would work for you. So the first thing that's really important is to get someone's attention. We all know that the worst thing is when we're in the middle of doing something and someone just comes up to us and says something important, and then wonders why we haven't responded, or we haven't responded properly, or they think that we've ignored them. And it's not that at all. It's just that we're engrossed in what we're doing. Our mind is on that. They're trying to tell us something. We're not really listening. We're annoyed that they've interrupted us, and it all gets misconceived from there. Okay, so the first thing for this conversation, any conversation, is that you ask the person at a timely moment, not when they seem really busy and engrossed. You ask them for their time. Sorry to interrupt you. Can I have a few minutes of your time? Or I can see that you're busy. When would be a good time to have a few minutes of your time? I want to talk to you about something. And what you're doing then, you're getting them to commit their time to you. So you have, in a very valid way, asked for their full attention. That's what you're doing. You're saying to them, I need your time, I need your full attention. So you do it in a respectful way. Okay, and they're either going to say yes there and then, or they're going to set time aside another time. But you all know when you come into that is that time. Okay, so you're starting off on the right footing. The next thing you need to do is this is very important, ask them to listen. And I mean listen to listen. And you have to ask this. I tell you why. I'm not sexist at all, as you know. I love men. Men are great. But men have a terrible trait. And the trait is, ladies, I'm sure you'll agree with me, we get this all the time. If we start to say something, so we're maybe talking about a problem or something that's happening, and before we've got half a sentence out, if we're talking to a man, they've jumped in with the solution or finished our sentence, and you just stand there looking and go, no, that's not what I was going to say, or no, that's not what I need. I didn't want a solution. I'm just trying to tell you something. Okay. Men, you are really bad at this. My husband Mark is listening, and this is not on here anymore, and he knows. And even though we have been through this stuff time and time again, he's probably laughing because he knows that he still does this. And I've got to the point where I will just stop and say, you've done it again. Okay, so listen to listen. You ask them to listen. Please listen to me. Please don't interrupt me. Please let me finish what I'm saying before you jump in with anything, is what you ask them. Okay, and the phrase is listen to listen. So because if they're jumping in, it means they were listening just to get their bit in. They're not really listening to what you're saying and what this means to you. They're just half taking it in because they've already decided their response. You don't want that. So you ask them, please, can you listen to me? Please don't interrupt me. Please let me finish. And please listen to listen. And you explain that that means actually listening to what you're saying and understanding what you're saying. And this is really important. And I know that someone will send me a message, some man will send me a message and say, oh, I've got that the other way around. My wife's terrible at that. Yeah, and I'm sure that as women we do it as well, but men do this. Mostly it has a good reason behind it, funny enough, because men are providers and they want to provide the solution. Now, obviously, if you're in a horrible, controlling relationship and someone is just trying to shut you up and diminish you, they're going to be jumping in all the time. But often men will just jump in because they want to take this problem away from you. The thing is, half the time we haven't got a problem, or we don't want them to solve it, we just want them to listen. Anyway, so that was quite a long way of saying listen to listen. But that's quite a new concept. You know, when we're doing corporate emotional intelligence and management and leadership training, listen to listen is quite a thing. But if you haven't done that kind of work, then listen to listen is a very valuable tool and a valuable thing to ask someone. So I know people always get that out of this training. So you've got their attention because you asked for their time. You've got them to keep quiet because you've asked them to listen. And if they go to open their mouth, you just say, no, please let me finish. So you'll be watching for this. You'll be aware of this. And then you just express. You need to express yourself. You need to say, this is what I need, or what I need is. Now, I know for most of you, this is really, really difficult. You are not used to accepting that you have needs and expressing your needs to other people. You are used to putting yourself second. I know you have thoughts around how you don't count, you're not important, you don't matter. And also, some of you are scared of expressing yourselves because you're worried about what the other person is going to think or feel. That's not your problem. This is about you. Unmet needs are a huge issue in relationships, in lives in general. They're the root cause of so many mental health problems. But you can't accuse your partner of not meeting any of your needs or one of your needs or a main need if you haven't expressed it. So you need to take control here. This is your opportunity to really express your need. So what, honestly, openly, and in an authentic way, with no fears or worries about what they are going to say, because that's irrelevant. This is about you expressing your need. Okay, so this is what I need. This is, thank you. This is why I need it. Okay, this is what, or I need this, and this is why. And you still get them to be quiet. You haven't finished yet. They don't jump in. So if you need to reiterate at this point, please just say, please let me carry on. Please let me carry on. So this is what I need. This is why I need it. This is what it will do for me. Here you are. I don't like to use the word justify, because I don't want you to think you have to justify yourself, because some of you will immediately think that you're in the wrong or that you shouldn't be needing what you need. No, but what you're doing, you're just clarifying to the person why you need it. Because otherwise you can go through all this process, or you can just say to someone, oh, I need this, and they immediately turn around and go, no, that's ridiculous. End of conversation. And you've got all this all this emotion that you haven't expressed. So this is why I need it. This is what it will do for me. And this is how it will make me feel. Okay, so there's a lot there. So you're really going into the detail of what it is that you need, why you need it, and how it's going to affect you. Okay, and the next part is you tell them, and what it will do for you is. So there's something in it for them as well, because anything that anything that you do for yourself normally has a benefit for someone else as well. This is the hidden benefit. People don't see it. You're not being selfish here. There's a benefit to that person and to everyone else around you as well, because you're asking for this because it's an unmet need at the moment. That means that in some way you're unhappy, you're not able to be yourself. Maybe you're moody, or you're irritable, or you're tired, or there will be something, you'll be affected in a negative way. Maybe you don't feel loved, cherished, nurtured, supported, whatever. Maybe you feel like you need to go out and get a job. You don't want to be staying at home, you know. So then you express what it will mean to them too, what it will do for them, what it will be for them. And then if you're talking to a spouse, you can talk about what it will mean for us, what it will mean for our children, for our relationship, for our finances. Just work out the way that it's important that it will affect not you personally, but all of you, as in whoever this involves. Now, I know when my children were small, it would have meant the world to me to just have a few hours off sometimes, to go and have a bath in peace, to be able to read a book, without someone knocking on the door and wanting me and needing me. And if I'd known about this at the time, what I would have said is, if I can have these couple of hours, I will feel more centered. I will feel as if I've gathered myself. I won't be so moody. I won't be so irritable. I just need some space, So, and then what it would do for the family, I'll be able better to support you when I am present. Whereas at the moment, I'm just really unhappy, that kind of thing. So that's just off the top of my head, but before you go into the conversation, you will know what this is for you. Okay, so you express all of that. You express everything that you need to say around it. And then you have to ask them, can you do that for me? And they have the chance to answer. Now, it might be that they say no. I have worked with people and done this, and someone says, no, I can't do that. So then you've got a whole other conversation to have. Why can't you do that for me? And then you've got to go into why and what it will mean. And maybe you have to compromise, or maybe this is so important to you. Maybe this is a deal breaker. Maybe this is something to do with one of your really strong values and boundaries. And you're thinking, no, if I can't have this, then this is not worthwhile. It might be something like fidelity. It might be honesty. It might be not lying. There are really, really important things where people's boundaries get crossed all the time. And if you have a really strong boundary about something and you're expressing a need around that, and the person you're talking to, even after you've done all this, doesn't see the point, or it's not important to them, or for whatever reason they say no, they can't do it for you, then you have to reassess that. Now, what you can do, you can actually take it a stage further and say, and say to them, well, what would you need from me for you to be able to do this? What would you need from me? And that might be a little bit of compromise, or it might be, it might just be somewhere you have to be, something you have to do. And you can also do this if they say yes. If they say yes, it's slightly different. So if they say no, the question is, what do you need from me? or you know, how does this need to look for you to be able to do this? Which bit do I need to compromise on? And then you can decide on that. But if they say yes, then your question is how do I support you? So how can I support you in doing this for me? Okay, so it's slightly different because you've agreed that they've agreed that they're going to do it. And then just clarify and say, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions around this? Anything you're not certain of, or anything that you need to know? And you want to do this because you don't want to be all ecstatic that you've got this sorted. You think you're getting this major need met, and maybe the person hasn't quite understood. Because don't forget, we all express things in different ways. We all come at things with different perspectives and expectations, and it may be that what they think they're agreeing to isn't exactly what you think you are both agreeing to, or all agreeing to, or whatever it is. So the next stage is to write it down. Write it down. I cannot tell you how important this is for the reasons that I've just said. You need to write it down. Just because, as I said, things can become confused afterwards. Okay, you won't have a recording. You won't have, well, unless you can voice record it, of course. You know, but the best thing, write it down. So write down, this is what I said I needed. This is how I said it would make me feel. This is what it will do for you. This is how I will be. Just write down the different stages, everything that you've agreed. This is what you said you needed from me. So this is what this agreement looks like. Okay. And it's not so that you can go back and blame later. In fact, it's to avoid that. It's just for clarification. It's just so that later, if one of you is disappointed or confused or thinks that something was going to be different, you can just go back to it and say, okay, so what did we agree? What did we say? What was this about? This is why I needed it. This is what you were going to do. And then it's clear. Okay, so I love that. I love that as a structure for a needs conversation, because I do want anyone who is listening to my work, to what I'm teaching, has trauma and abuse in the background, very much dealing with issues around abandonment, people pleasing, being the carer, not used to putting themselves first, not really wanting to express themselves, maybe not wanting to be seen, not thinking that their needs, wants, and opinions are important. And this is a really good way that you can start to express what's important to you and get what you need into your lives. And also, it's a good way for you to start to really look at establishing your own really strong values and boundaries as well. And not just establishing them for yourself, but enforcing them, making sure they're put in place. So if you go through this work and you look at your values and boundaries, and you realize that one of them is constantly crossed, or is exploited or ignored in a way that isn't acceptable to you, have the needs conversation around it. Do that so that you can bring things back to a place where they're acceptable to you. And something I always say as well, when people are in relationships, is don't look at your new relationships from a scarcity point of view. Don't look at them as, I'd better not say that I need this, or I want this, or I better not show that this is important to me, because this person might not agree. They might get cross with me. It might not be acceptable to them. Okay, if it's not acceptable to them, they're not the right person. Okay, someone will come along who is, but don't deny things that are important to you, parts of yourself, that are an essential part of who you are, because this is where emotional and mental illness comes from as well. When we have to deny who we are, when we can't be our authentic selves. So I always advise, right at the beginning of any relationship, be honest. Be honest about who you are, what you need, and what you need from someone, how you need someone to show up, what you want them to be. And when they start to show that their values don't meet yours, or that they're crossing your boundaries, or don't respect what you're doing or saying, you can let them know. Just let them know that this isn't acceptable, this is a deal breaker, or we need to change this, or look, sorry, I did let you know about this, this is really important to me. Because you'll be right for the right people. I've said this quite a lot lately. I don't want you to come at things from a point of view of scarcity. This is what I deserve. This is all I will get. I'd better not speak up. I'd better put up with this. No, you're worth more. Okay, I want you to understand that you are worth more. You are worth everything. You are worth everything that you need, everything that you desire. And one of the ways to ensure that you get that is to be clear about what you need, what's acceptable to you, and to ensure that you reinforce it. Okay, so right, that's my training for today. What I'll do, I'm going to I think I'll actually put this in note form as well, probably tomorrow now. So I'll put that up because I don't do a live on Fridays normally. So I'll put up a summary of this so that you've got that to refer to. I'll check actually, because I also have a video series about this. Maybe I'll put that link up too. It was on my website. I'm not sure that it's still there anymore, but anyway, I'll find that for you, because the videos are just a couple of minutes long each, and you can just flick through them for every point that we've gone through. Okay, so I'll leave that with you. As always, any questions, let me know. Thank you very much, and I hope you really get something out of this training on effective communication for getting your needs met.